He's the voice that shook up sports talk. From jaw-dropping NFL highlights to meme-worthy podcast moments, Shannon Sharpe isn't just a former athlete, he's a cultural force. A Hall of Fame tight end turned media juggernaut, Sharpe built a brand on raw honesty, viral charisma, and conversations nobody else dared to have. With Club Shay Shay, he didn't just talk to celebrities. He got them to open up, break down, and go viral. He was winning in every lane: sports, entertainment, business. But then, everything changed. In 2024, a devastating lawsuit hit, and then another. This time, a staggering $50 million sexual assault case. Suddenly, one of the most trusted voices in media found himself at the center of a scandal that stunned fans, fractured his image, and threatened to tear down the empire he built. This is the full story: the rise, the reign, and the reckoning of Shannon Sharpe. How he climbed from poverty to superstardom, how he shaped culture from behind the mic, and what happens when power, fame, and controversy collide in front of millions. Before the bright lights, before the suits and studio sets, Shannon Sharpe's story began in Glenville, Georgia. Raised in poverty, Sharpe has always been open about his rough upbringing. He and his siblings, including future NFL star Sterling Sharpe, were raised by their grandmother. The odds were against him, but Sharpe was relentless. He attended Savannah State, a small HBCU often overlooked by NFL scouts. Still, his athleticism and drive caught attention. Drafted in the 7th round by the Denver Broncos in 1990, few expected him to last, let alone become a legend. But Shannon Sharpe never played by the rules. He redefined the tight end position with speed, power, and charisma. By the time he retired, he had 3 Super Bowl rings, 815 receptions, and over 10,000 yards. And that was just the beginning. Post-retirement, Sharpe jumped into broadcasting with CBS's The NFL Today. But it wasn't until 2016 that he truly exploded onto the mainstream with FS1's Undisputed, alongside Skip Bayless. The show was a hit. Sharpe's Southern charm, raw delivery, and ability to turn sports talk into cultural conversation made him a standout. Whether debating LeBron versus Jordan, clapping back at critics, or delivering quotables like "that ain't no problem," Sharpe became memeable, marketable, and magnetic. He wasn't just talking sports. He was shaping narratives, speaking on race, politics, athlete empowerment, and doing it with zero fear. Undisputed gave him a platform, but Sharpe saw the bigger picture. He didn't want to just be talent. He wanted ownership. In 2020, Shannon launched Club Shay Shay, and it immediately set itself apart. The formula? Long-form interviews with real conversations, laughs, and life lessons? Think: a Southern lounge meets barbershop talk, hosted by a Hall of Famer with a mic and no filter. Guests ranged from A-list athletes like Floyd Mayweather and Kevin Hart to cultural icons like Cat Williams, Steve Harvey, and even viral influencers. These weren't just interviews and jokes. They were storytelling masterclasses. Sharpe asked deep questions but made it feel like a conversation between old friends. He blended humor with vulnerability, philosophy with jokes. One moment you're laughing, the next, learning something powerful about resilience, race, or responsibility. By 2023, Club Shay Shay had racked up hundreds of millions of views. It was more than a podcast. It was a brand. One rooted in authenticity, culture, and Sharpe's unique voice. Then came 2024, and everything shifted. A civil lawsuit was filed against Shannon Sharpe, accusing him of serious misconduct. The internet, once his biggest amplifier, turned into a courtroom. News outlets rushed the headlines. Commentators speculated, fans panicked, and haters pounced. But what seemed like a storm quickly grew into a hurricane. In a stunning escalation, a second lawsuit dropped, this time demanding $50 million in damages. The claim? Sexual assault allegations tied to a private encounter Sharpe allegedly had several years prior. The suit painted a deeply troubling picture and immediately caught fire across both mainstream and social media. Victim claims allegedly Sharpe wanted to record their sexual activity when she wasn't aware, as well as share it with other people. Also claimed that Sharpe would verbally abused her during their relationship, then later, in October 2024, raped and assaulted the victim. The plaintiff's legal team went public, holding a press conference that was live-streamed and shared millions of times. Sharpe's legal team fired back, calling the case a fabrication built on lies and vowing to fight it in court. They insisted there was no criminal case, only a civil lawsuit based on unproven accusations. But the damage was done. The victim then releases audio and text messages between her and Shannon Sharpe on social media, which blew the situation even more over proportion. This was no longer just a PR issue. It was a full-blown public crisis. Sharpe didn't respond immediately. No Instagram post. No emergency episode of Club Shay Shay. Just silence and a carefully worded legal statement denying the allegations and urging the public to wait for the truth. That silence? It divided his audience. Some said it was the professional thing to do. Don't fan the flames. Let the process speak. Others viewed it as a red flag. That when the stakes are this high, staying quiet looks like guilt. And as days turned into weeks, the controversy spiraled. It wasn't just about whether Sharpe did or didn't do something. It became about celebrity power, accountability, and how fast the media builds someone up and then tears them down. Then Sharpe finally responded, making a post on Instagram basically saying he was going to be open and transparent about the situation and how everything is being orchestrated by Tony Busby, saying he targets black men and how he will be planning to release clips of the sex tape to make him look bad. A couple days later, Sharpe released another post on Instagram saying, quote, "My statement is found here and this is the truth. The relationship in question was 100% consensual. At this juncture, I am electing to step aside temporarily from my ESPN duties. I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations set against me. I plan to return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason. I sincerely appreciate the overwhelming and ongoing support I have received from my family, fans, friends, and colleagues. Shannon Sharpe." Since then, Sharpe has been silent about the situation. Sharpe's name has been trending for weeks now. His fans defended him passionately. His critics used the moment to tear down his credibility. But what really stood out? The silence from inside the industry. Celebrities who once praised him grew quiet. A few, like Chad Johnson, posted vague messages about loyalty, but many distanced themselves. Nobody wanted to pick a side too soon. Stephen A. Smith gave one of the few public statements saying, "We gotta let the process play out." Even that felt cautious, safe. And Club Shay Shay? It slowed down noticeably. New uploads came less frequently. Guests were less high profile. Advertisers allegedly asked for more control over content tone. Sharpe, who once seemed untouchable, was now navigating a media minefield. This scandal really isn't just about Shannon Sharpe. It's about how we treat public figures. It's about cancel culture, accountability, and the court of public opinion. Sharpe has spent years talking about justice, respect, and standing 10 toes down. Now he's on the other side of the mic, being judged by the same standards. It's also about race, power, and legacy. How quickly are successful black voices silenced when controversy hits? And how long is the road to redemption? The internet's memory is short, but not always forgiving. Sharpe is no stranger to adversity. He beat poverty. He beat the odds in the NFL. He built a second career when most ex-players fade out. If anyone can turn this around, then it's him. But it won't be easy. He'll need to address the allegations more directly. He'll need to rebuild trust with fans, sponsors, and guests. And he'll need to remind the world why they loved Club Shay Shay in the first place, because it was honest, smart, and unlike anything else. This might be his biggest test yet, but his career has always been about proving people wrong. Shannon Sharpe changed the way athletes use their voice. He went from an overlooked draft pick to a Hall of Fame tight end to a cultural force. Club Shay Shay was more than a show. It was a movement. But now that movement is at a crossroads. So what happens next? Will Sharpe weather the storm? Or will this scandal define the final chapter of his story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown insightful, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and don't forget to turn on notifications, because in the world of celebrity, controversy, and culture, the story never ends.